For 70 years, Canada never bought a major weapons system without Washington somewhere in the room. Today, that changed, and the country barely blinked. Mark Carney just signed off on the single largest military purchase in Canadian history, and the country that wasn't in the room this time was the United States. Setting the stage, to understand why this moment matters, you have to go back decades. Canada's current submarine fleet, the Victoria-class boats, were bought second-hand from Britain in the 1990s. They were never supposed to still be in service in 2026. They've spent more time in dry dock for repairs than most Canadians realize, and for years, defense planners quietly admitted the country was one bad breakdown away from having no functioning submarine fleet at all. Every previous attempt to replace them got stuck in political gridlock, budget fights, or simply fell off the radar the moment a new government took office. Today, that decades-long stall ended. The announcement itself, standing in front of reporters, Carney confirmed what insiders had been quietly signaling for weeks. Canada has selected TKMS, a German shipbuilder, as the preferred supplier for a fleet of up to 12 new patrol submarines. Not an American company. Not a deal running through a U.S. defense contractor. A European partner, chosen entirely on Canada's own terms. Carney didn't try to soften the geopolitical message. He talked about a more dangerous and divided world, about threats in the Arctic, about cyber attacks, drones, and hypersonic weapons reshaping what modern warfare even looks like, and he made a point of saying the cost has already been built into the federal budget. This isn't a promise for some future government to figure out. It's locked in now. Here's the detail that matters most for ordinary Canadians. This isn't just a defense story, it's a job story. Carney's team says the project will support more than 100,000 jobs nationwide: welders, pipe fitters, engineers, machinists, plus the shipyards, dry docks, and support infrastructure that come with maintaining a submarine fleet for decades. That's work spread across multiple provinces, not concentrated in one region, which is very deliberately part of the pitch. Why the Arctic is the real story. The bigger picture here is the Arctic. Sea ice that used to make Canada's northern waters impassable for most of the year is thinning out. That means commercial shipping routes are opening up that were frozen solid a generation ago. Shorter paths between continents, more countries with an interest in passing through, and more competition over the resources underneath those waters. Add in what Carney's government describes as increasingly assertive behavior from authoritarian states, and you get a strategic problem Canada can no longer treat as a someday issue. The submarines being built under this deal are designed specifically with that environment in mind, capable of staying submerged for more than 40 days at a stretch, built for stealth and endurance under ice, and fully interoperable with NATO command systems, so Canada can operate seamlessly alongside its allies rather than on its own island of incompatible technology. The pushback and Carney's response: not everyone in the room was satisfied. One reporter pushed hard on an uncomfortable question. By picking a European supplier, is Canada just trading one dependence on the USEs for a new one on Europe? And did an Asian supplier ever really have a fair shot, given Canada's stated interest in deepening ties across the Indo-Pacific? Carney rejected the framing outright. He pointed to recent conversations with the Philippines and South Korea, ongoing trade negotiations with India, and upcoming meetings across the Asia-Pacific region as evidence this is about expanding partnerships, not narrowing them. His argument, in plain terms, relying on one country for defense and trade, was the actual risk. Diversifying, building relationships with multiple reliable partners instead of one dominant one, is what actually makes Canada more secure, not less. What comes next and what could go wrong? It's worth being honest about the road ahead. Submarine programs of this scale, in almost every country that's attempted them, have a track record of running over budget and behind schedule. Negotiations on the exact contract terms are only just beginning, and Carney himself acknowledged those talks will stay out of public view to protect Canada's negotiating position. That means the real test of this announcement, whether the jobs materialize, whether delivery timelines hold, whether costs stay anywhere near what's been budgeted, won't be visible for years. But symbolically, the shift is already done. For the first time in a generation, Canada has made its most significant defense decision of the decade without waiting for a green light from Washington. Payoff and close. This wasn't just about buying submarines. It was Canada quietly telling the world, and telling itself, that it doesn't need permission anymore to defend its own coastline, its own Arctic, and its own future. If you think this is the moment Canada stopped waiting on Washington, hit subscribe on Unbiased Canada, leave a like, and tell us in the comments, is this the beginning of a genuinely independent Canadian defense policy or just one announcement in a much longer story?